This audio was originally released on Substack. Please check the description for a link. Brothers and sisters, those of you who love this country and hold the Constitution close to your heart, I need you to listen carefully. This moment in history is unlike any we've faced before, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Today, I'm here to talk about something many of us feel deep in our bones and many struggle to put into words. For the first time in 250 years, Congress has betrayed the Constitution. They've certified the election of a man who, by every measure, is disqualified from holding office under the 14th Amendment. A man who has openly engaged in insurrection against the very foundation of our democracy, the Constitution. This is no small failure. It's not politics as usual. It's a direct attack on everything this nation stands for. And it wasn't just those in Congress who supported this insurrectionist who failed us. No. We were also let down by those who should have been on our side. Those who didn't even try to object to his certification. Their silence, their inaction, was a betrayal just as grave. Because defending the Constitution requires more than words. It demands courage, and courage was in short supply. But the first step to victory is knowing our adversary. Let me be clear. Our adversary is fascism. Now, I know the word fascism gets thrown around a lot these days, sometimes carelessly, but make no mistake, what we're dealing with right now is actual fascism. So what is fascism? Fascism is not a single thing, it's a combination of many things. A man who calls the press the enemy of the people may be a fascist. A man who suggests we should use the military within our borders to go after the enemy within might be a fascist. A man who scapegoats immigrants and minorities for our economic insecurities while protecting the profits of corporate elites could well be a fascist. A man who glorifies military might and hints at territorial expansion could be a fascist. A man who talks about the good old days, making grand promises to restore a lost greatness while claiming to be unfairly persecuted sounds a lot like a fascist. And a man who spreads propaganda and misinformation to manipulate the masses seems like a fascist. But let me tell you, my brothers and sisters, a man who does all of the above, that man is without question a fascist. A fascist like the ones we saw in World War II, Italy and Germany. Now, he may not yet have committed the atrocities of those fascists, but fascism has many stages. Our fascist may look different, may sound different, and may seem far removed from 80 years ago, but make no mistake, fascism, unchecked, always leads to devastation, and we are staring it in the face. At its heart, fascism offers simple answers to complex problems, but those answers are built on division, hate, and lies, and its only goal is power, no matter the cost to truth, justice, or democracy. Now, I know some of you are afraid, and you should be. A fascist is about to enter the White House, not just any fascist, but one who has already shown us his playbook. He's consolidating power, tearing down safeguards, and ensuring that this time there won't be an easy way to stop him. And I know you're angry. Angry that Congress would allow this. Angry that our institutions have failed us. And you should be angry. But hear me. We cannot let that anger turn into silence because, as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. reminded us, he who accepts evil without protesting against it is really cooperating with it. Silence is not an option. At the same time, we cannot let our anger turn to chaos or violence. That only opens the door for greater oppression and justifies their use of force. Instead, we must channel that anger into action. Where bigots have called themselves the silent majority, we must become the loudest majority. We must show America and the world that fascism is not how we make America great again. Here's what I'm asking of you today. Look around your community. Find someone who's vulnerable, a neighbor who's an immigrant, a minority, or anyone who might be a target of this regime, and let them know, even if you've never met them before, that you've got their back. Show them they're not alone. And together, we must unite into a single unstoppable force that demands accountability, not just from our leaders, but from ourselves. We must push the Democratic Party to stop capitulating and start fighting for the Constitution and for American ideals. If the fascists want to take this ship into the storm, then we must become the storm, an unrelenting force for justice, truth, and democracy. To win this fight, we need to take control of the narrative. That means speaking up on every platform we have and build some more, whether it's on social media, in our communities, or at the ballot box. We cannot afford to be polite or overly nuanced. Tell the truth plainly and unapologetically. Let the American people know what's at stake. If the fascists can captivate hearts with lies, then we can win them back with the truth, but only if we're bold enough to speak it. Now, as we take back the narrative and fight for the soul of this nation, we must remember something deeply important. Not to turn on those who have been conned by fascism. Yes, they have fallen victim to the lies and the propaganda, but they are not our enemies. They're our brothers and sisters too. Many of them have been led astray, not because they don't love this country, but because they love it so deeply that they were vulnerable to the false promises and scapegoating that fascism thrives on. Where we may have failed to reach them in the past, we must not fail now. And when we succeed, when their eyes are open, we must welcome them back into our midst. Not with bitterness, but with open arms. For they too want an America that shines as a beacon of hope and opportunity. Once they see the truth, they will be invaluable allies in this fight. Their love for this country, when paired with clarity and purpose, can strengthen our resolve and expand our movement. So, let us not respond to hatred with hatred, or division with more division. Let us instead show them the better path, the path of truth, justice, and unity. That is how we not only defeat fascism, but heal this nation. I believe we can do this. I believe in us. Because if there is one thing that history has shown, it's that no matter how dark the night, the light that is America always shines through. And that light, my brothers and sisters, that light is us. Those who are willing to stand up and fight for truth. The United States is at a crossroads, and it's up to us to ensure that our nation remains what it was always meant to be. The shining city on a hill, a beacon of hope and justice for all. Will you stand with me? Thank you for listening, and may we all find the strength to fight for what's right.